Hi there, I'm Mike. What I have for you today is a video I haven't actually done in a while. The third wave of the archive figures is out, and I am here to show you a comparison from the original release to the second release. Now, I actually haven't even done a regular review on the old figure here, so I guess you can kind of consider it that, but it's not going to be as laid out, thought out. It's not going to be the same as one of my normal reviews, basically. I mostly do these so I can show you the differences, so you can decide on whether or not you want to get one or not. So I'm going to put this aside for now, and we're going to take a look at the new one. Now, this is all new packaging. Well, I guess it's the same package. It's not like new packaging, but they did add the 50 Lucasfilm LTD because it is the 50-year anniversary of Lucasfilm. You can see on the side it's got Grand Admiral Thrawn. We have the picture here. Obviously, we have the figure. It says Archive on the side. On the back, it says Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, on the previous boxes, it would give you kind of a look at what the old box looked like. I think this is the first figure we've gotten in the archive officially that was not in phase 1 or 2. This is actually a phase 3 figure. This figure was from 2017, so it's, I mean, relatively speaking, compared to like every other figure that came out in the archive so far, this one is not that old. Yeah, pretty much everything else is from 2013, 14, or 15. This is the newest, latest figure that we've got in the line so far. So that's just kind of an interesting fact, I guess. I suspect they did this because of the Rebels re-releases, and they kind of wanted to give the people that just got the new Rebels the Thrawn to go with it, so they can re-release basically everything from Rebels again. I'm not complaining because there is a face upgrade, and we'll get to that. This is a brand new blade, so I'm trying just to cut the plastic, but I'm cutting pretty much everything. So I should just be able to pull this up. I don't really save these for posterity or anything, but I guess I do save them. It's weird anyway, I think about it, honestly. So we're just gonna kind of put that right there for now. And we have the figure. Looks very figurey. I don't know if I can tell the difference between these two faces. Like, I'm sure I could. I haven't given it a good look yet. So I'm a little afraid that it's not noticeably better, and so I won't be able to tell which is which. It's a weird, irrational fear I've got right now, but that doesn't make it any less real. So we'll put that right there and keep it. And this is Grand Admiral Thrawn right out of the box. Fresh and clean. We're gonna take a look at all of his joints here. Make sure everything is free and loose. The ankles are usually a big problem. The ankles and the elbows, for me anyway, are usually issues with like frozen joints and whatnot. He does come with this single solitary blaster. The San Diego Comic-Con version of this came with just an absolute ton of stuff, and I'm a little jealous that I don't have that. There we go. I have to free that up. He comes with like the Ysaela Miri like painting. He comes with the Syndulla family thing. He comes with a helmet for the Jedi Temple Guards. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff it came with, and that's one of the few things that I don't have. Here's what we're gonna do. The main difference here that I can see is the suit looks exactly the same. In theory, this one should have better paint apps because it's using like digital painting and whatnot, and my heater just came on. This one, I've got some paint scuff or something right there. I never noticed that before. I remember this came out Force Friday for Last Jedi. That was 2017. So I really want to get in here and look at the faces. I've never been a huge fan of this face sculpt. To me, it's kind of jokery, but actually he kind of, I don't know if it's the shading on the face. I think it's the shading on the face, because this came out during a weird time where they weren't painting the faces. So yeah, it's all sculpt work. The only paint are the lips and the eyes and the eyebrows. Everything else, because the plastic is blue, it's hard, you don't see it as much, but you can definitely tell there's the sculpting is the exact same, but this looks like it has a lot more definition and contours and whatnot because of the better paint. So I can definitely tell the difference here. You can see like you can see the indentation better on his cheeks. Like it's here, it's in the sculpt, but you just can't see it because of the paint isn't there. This also looks like he's wearing lipstick, whereas these just look like he has lips. So lipstick, lips. This kind of looks like a knockoff now, to be honest. It's night and day. I can absolutely tell the difference here. Now this, he has The sculpt, I'm sure, is there. It's just not as noticeable because the eyebrows are painted better, but he does have like the eyebrows lifted, so he's doing like the Spock kind of thing. It's supposed to be like a smug sense of superiority, which is what Grand Admiral Thrawn is. Now, if you don't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn, he originally showed up in the Heir to the Empire like trilogy, whatever. It came out in the 90s. And I mean, he was a great villain. He was a better villain than most other villains have been in Star Wars. He used art to kind of figure out how to beat people. It's kind of a fun gimmick. But I mean, you have to put him in this pose, right? That's just how you have to do it. I don't particularly think those books have aged well. I know a lot of people hold them dear. I don't think they're very good. The ending on them is terrible. Anything to do with the Clone Wars, which there was a lot of clone stuff in there, all of that stuff is dated. It was dated the moment the prequels came out, just to give you an idea, which was like like a decade after those books came out. So it wasn't even that long. Not even a decade after those books came out. But yeah, so I mean, they're good books, but I feel like a lot of people put them on pedestals. But Thrawn is one of those things that came out, and yes, like he is that good. He is that cool. And I'm glad they put him back in canon. And they had Timothy Zahn, who wrote the original books, write new books for that canon. So I think that's cool. I like what they did there. I really like this. I feel like the paint is better. I feel like the paint is a little shinier on these little gold parts on his shoulders. I feel like the paint apps on here are a little bit more, I don't know, vivid, I guess. Now I'm colorblind. This white does seem to be a little bit more cream than this white to me, but that could be a trick of the light. That could just be that my eyes are broken. You can tell that the paint is there, and that gives it a huge definition. Like there's definitely a difference here. And it's the same sculpt. This is not a new head. This is the exact same head that just kind of shows you what the difference in paint is. I don't know if the hair is actually lighter or just has a bunch of dust on it. I like that he's in Rebels. I like him as a character, even if he wasn't in Rebels. I like him a lot. This is the superior one. If you have this one, you're thinking like, I don't really need it. Do you really, really need it? Honestly, after seeing both, I have to say yes. I can't get over how much better. So one of the things that he has are red eyes. So you can kind of see in there that his eyes are actually kind of red, whereas on here, like they're red, but they're, I don't know. These look a lot better. Yeah, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is the superior release. For appearances here, I'm gonna give him a 1. He looks like Grand Admiral Thrawn should. This one, because of the face paint, I give it a 0.75. Like, it's not bad. Until this one came out, this one was fine. But now that this one's out, this one is garbage, if that makes sense. For accessories, man, I'm gonna give him a 0.25. There's just really like one blaster, a holster for it, and that's it. He could have come with something, alternate hands, anything else he came with in that huge SDCC. I'm not saying all of it, but some of it would have been cool. His articulation is fine. It's a little dated for nowadays. So for instance, he doesn't have the butterfly joint on his shoulders. He doesn't have the newer knees. He doesn't have the double joint in his neck here, but it's fine for what it is. And for what you need to do with this kind of figure, it does what it needs to do. So I'm gonna give it a 0.75. It is a little dated now. That's just really more of a semantic thing I think for this figure. It's not a super necessity. For the paint and sculpt, this body is the exact same body that like General Veers and Grand Moff Tarkin and all those guys came with. It's the standard Imperial body with blue hands painted and a new head. So, I mean, they kind of cheaped out on it, but I do have to say, I like the coloring, the details there. I like the paint work they have going on here. There's like nothing that's not painted. Sometimes little details like this don't get painted for whatever reason. Because of the sculpt here and the paint on the new face, I'm gonna give it the full point for the paint, sculpt, and detail here, which just leaves the want and availability. He would not have been on any of my want lists anytime soon. There are a bunch of figures I feel like need upgrades or updates or new figures over Grand Admiral Thrawn, but I know there are people out there that want him. He had a pretty decent price on the aftermarket because, you know, people got into the Black Series late, or they're just now getting into Rebels because of Disney Plus, and they want a Thrawn figure, and now he's expensive. So I'm glad they're re-releasing him. He's definitely not a bad release, but he wouldn't have been on my personal top 10 for a while. But now that I have him, I'm happy. It's just, I don't think I would have put him super high on the want list. But in terms of availability, I mean, he's just now coming out. I got mine from Dorkside Toys. I've seen this wave a couple of times in the store, although he and Cody are the two most wanted figures. I saw Luke and Han kind of peg warming a little bit once or twice. Although peg warming is a weird word because while they were left on the shelf, when I went back a day later, they were gone. So it's not like peg warming where they're not being bought. They're just being bought last compared to Thrawn and Cody. I'm going to give it a 0.75 for want availability. He's not exclusive. You can buy him wherever you want. He might be a little hard to find, but I don't think it's going to be really hard to find. But that gives us a 4 out of 5 for the final score on this figure. I think he's good. When he first came out, I probably would have given him the same score just because back then we didn't have the better face printing anyway, and this was actually pretty decent for the time. Even when he was new, he was a hard to find figure in the wave. He came out with Hera. He came out with, what else is in that wave? I think Old Man Luke, the Rey from Last Jedi. Oh, I think there was also a reissue of the Stormtrooper, and I think Darth Vader. So he came out in a weird wave, but of all those figures, he was the hard one to get. This thing is fantastic. So again, if you are on the fence about getting Admiral Thrawn because you have the original, I do think it's a worthy upgrade. This one is going back in the box and into the garage. This is the one that's sitting on my shelf. He is a worthy upgrade, and I'm glad I've got him. So with that, that's it. Let me know down in the downstairs area. What did you think of this? Are you getting it? Are you not getting it? Are you passing? I'd love to read and respond to all of the comments. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the people on screen for supporting me on Patreon at a Black Series level or higher. Thank you so much, guys. It means a lot to me that you do that. If you want to get your name on this list, you can head down to my Patreon down in the downstairs area or at the end of the video. If that's not your thing, there's a couple different ways you can support the channel that aren't that, up to and including liking, sharing, subscribing, and hitting the bell to get more notifications. But with that, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting this far, and I'll see you later. Bye.